And we are rolling on the 25th of February at UCLA, where it's another beautiful day in Los Angeles. The sunshine is shining. And we're about to debate the question that the U.S. government should abolish the death penalty. The U.S. government should abolish the death penalty. For speaking for the government, Johnny. Hard to read. And for the opposition, Sam. So the speaker now calls this house to order. You can tap, you can say here, here. Here's something you disagree with, you can say shame. Okay, you may, and I need my, yes. And this, I will, for the moment, call this house to order. And I will entertain a speech from the leader of the government not to exceed 7 minutes in length on the question of abolishing the death penalty.
My name is Johnny. This is a debate about
whether
the state should abolish the death penalty, which I strongly agree, because it actually creates inhumanity, social inefficiency, and inequality. But before we start, let's talk about what the death penalty is. It literally refers to the punishment of execution administered to someone legally convicted of a capital crime. So basically, the reason why I firmly support it is based on many reasons, but I'm going to talk about 3 major reasons today. So firstly, the death penalty is notorious because it's inhumanity. Interestingly, I found some words from the internet says we kill people who kill people because killing people is wrong. The United States emphasizes human rights and social fairness to many other countries. However, death penalty obviously doesn't have this social value. So let's see an example from Jordan Smith. Wrote in an article called "Why is it so easy for states to execute the mentally ill?" on May 20, 2015. He argues, although this violates international law, federal courts still sentence mentally unbalanced people to death. It's hard to know exactly how many death row inmates with serious mental illness have been executed. Through Death Penalty Focus, which is an abolitionist group, report that more than 60 mentally ill or retarded inmates have been executed since 1983. So therefore, death penalty is extremely inhuman. So secondly, the death penalty will not be able to lower crime rates, which creates inefficiency of this mechanism. Let's see the other example from Courage Zachary. Wrote the other article called "Death Penalty Proved to be an Inhuman Act of Moral Justice" on June 9, 2014. A study led by a University of Colorado researcher found that 88% of the nation's leading criminologists do not see the death penalty as an effective deterrent. So in other words, criminals don't care about it, so most of them still do what they want, and like killing people even though like they may be sentenced to death. So certainly, human rights violation in America is that poor people or lower class people are more likely sentenced to death as confirmed by the Supreme Court. A defendant with a good defense team in court can usually escape the death penalty. However, a good defense team costs a lot of money. So, however, like if a defendant is poor, he or she has no access to such counsel. So let's see an example from Morris Campus. The 6 reasons the death penalty is becoming more expensive on December 17, 2014. The 2010 Judicial Conference report found that attorneys for defendants facing the death penalty spent an average of 1,889 hours per trial between 1989 and 1997. Between 1998 and 2004, the average was 3,557 hours. By 2007, according to American Bar Association, many countries were paying at least $100 per hour. So how big is the problem? Let's see on December 26, 2014. Dan Outcard, the other article, "The Human Death Penalty Must End." So basically, the only Western country in which the death penalty is enforced is the United States, with 38 out of 50 states keeping it their status. There are some 24,000 people currently waiting their turn to be executed in the country. So why do we have this problem? Actually, it could be a lot of reasons, but most important reason is that America has a high crime rate and high incarceration rate compared to most other countries, which potentially push the development of death penalty to punish and restrain those dangerous people. So in other words, the US law should be tough enough. So what's the solution? Well, the simple and efficient way is to advocate people's right to life and right of choice, to appeal more people to vote. Their voting actually plays a very important role on the abolishment of death penalty. So let's see an example from Ucla Principle, America Death Penalty Solution on August 27, 2015. So most states left the decision for implementation of the law up to voters, thus meaning the people were granted the power to vote on the topic. So the second solution is that trying to convince more young people to oppose death penalty, even though there is still more than 50% of people to support it. However, it is shrinking, especially young Americans are less keen than the olders. So last but not least, we can emphasize the fact that the capital punishment violates the Eighth Amendment's provision against cruel and unusual punishments. So there's the other example from The Economist called Justice Delayed on July 22nd, 2014. Judge Carney stated that the machinery of death in Golden State is so plagued by delays that it amounts to a cruel and unusual punishment in violation of the Eighth Amendment to the federal Constitution. Judge Carney struck down the Ernest Jones 1995 death sentence for raping and killing his girlfriend's mother, along with capital sentence of 747 other convicts awaiting execution for decades with complete uncertainty as to when or even whether it will ever come. The Judge Carney wrote, is a punishment no rational jury or legislation could ever impose. So where does the solution work? Well, definitely, according to the data from National Coalition to Abolish Death Penalty in October 2015, 156 innocent people have been freed from the death row, which is a huge achievement. Since the opponents are decreasing, there will be more states released from the death penalty. So far, 19 states and the District of Columbia have made this achievement to abolish the death penalty. So what is the advantage of this proposal? Well, it will create a great influence on abolishment of death penalty as an increased number of supporters. Some of them used to against it, but then change their attitude. Moreover, more and more states have banned the death penalty, which is an advantage to make a further progress, because this will be a trend that a majority will follow. The main trend will made by the majority will influence the minority. Even though there are still many people who support the death, but as you can see, the number is decreasing. So, well, about on balance, by advocating the right of life, the right of choice, more and more people have power to influence public opinion toward the death penalty by exerting their right to vote. When there's a growing number of people join the group to abolish the death penalty, it will be more efficient to achieve our goal, because opinion from the majority represent the voice of the society. So therefore, I think the death penalty should be abolished.
Thank you very much. 6:42. Very nice. You now say, I now stand open for cross-examination and points of clarification.
Cross-examination.
Okay.
That would be you. 3 minutes of cross-examination, please.
Okay, so I have a question in regards to the inequality you raised in the criminal justice system. Although the criminal justice system is not fair, that you pointed out, why does that mean that the death penalty is wrong?
Well, I think the reason why the death penalty is wrong because, well, like I said, one of the major reasons I have mentioned was that it creates social inefficiency. So what is the social inefficiency? Because rich people are more likely to escape from the death penalty because they have money. They are able to hire best lawyer, pay all these fees. So, however, for poor people, they don't have enough money. So, they are not able to pay all these fees.
Look at the judge, not at the opponent when you cross-examine.
So, therefore...
Stand a little closer to him so that you're both in camera. Thank you.
So, therefore, I think death penalty creates social inefficiency.
I have one more question. How come the death penalty is not a good deterrent when the person committing the crime dies?
Well, according to Death Penalty Information Center, because I think the survey rely on questionnaires, all these surveys created by most preeminent criminologists. So they actually have done a very good service. So they made this report. Like I say, there are like 78% of surveys that having the death penalty in the state does not lower the murder rate. And in addition, 91% of respondents said politicians support the death penalty in order to appear tough on crime. So therefore, I think they have really good reasons to say that.
Okay, that was 1:55 of cross-ex. Thank you. You have technically 3 minutes, but great. Okay. The chair will now recognize the leader of the opposition to hear his refutation of the speaker's presentation for a speech not to exceed 7 minutes in length. Hear, hear.
Hey, my name is Sam, and I will be arguing that the United States should not abolish the death penalty. So, what is the problem? The controversy surrounding the necessity of the death penalty is one that is rooted in the history of the United States. Its puritanical origins and the perceived moral righteousness of executing citizens convicted of capital crimes. Its validity is rooted in the religious sentiment of an eye for an eye. Since it is immoral to have people decide the punishment of a criminal, they instead ascribe the same criminal act as the punishment. If the criminal killed, then the equivalent punishment is death. The death penalty has a long history within the United States. According to the death penalty in America, current controversies published in 2014, capital punishment has existed since the 17th century. The criminal law developed was more than a series of variations, colony by colony, on the law of England. All the colonies authorized public execution by hanging as the mandatory punishment for various crimes against the state, the person, and the property. The real problem lies within the controversy of the humanitarian aspect of the death penalty today. The lines that are being drawn between political party affiliation and religious ideologies paint the death penalty as a moral and humanitarian issue rather than a criminal justice mechanism used to deter further crime. The morality of the death penalty is one that is constantly being brought up, but the real issue is that the abolition of the death penalty only serves to comfort the aggressors and criminals rather than serving justice and allowing the families of the victims to find closure and move on. A capital crime is the worst crime one can commit within the United States. The victims of these crimes not only lose their lives, but their families' lives are forever disrupted. So how big is the problem? The death penalty is one of the most highly debated and controversial issues in America today. According to the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology published in 2013, the death penalty has been the subject of heated debate in the United States for over 150 years. Both retentionists and abolitionists have developed ritualistic arguments on the key issues of the controversy. The main issue surrounding both retentionists and abolitionists is the argument of deterrence. Does the death penalty actually deter people from committing capital crime? According to the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology, a major element of the controversy is whether capital punishment, as claimed by retentionists, is a unique deterrent to crime. The argument is that most people will not commit a crime if they know they may be executed as a result. This, of course, is an outgrowth of man's innate predisposition towards self-preservation. According to the Journal of Criminal Law and Criminology, abolitionists, however, note that some people commit crimes for which they may be executed because of a conscious or subconscious desire to commit suicide. Some abolitionists believe that the death penalty increases the level of serious crime because those who have already committed a capital crime will not hesitate to commit others since they feel they have nothing else to lose. Also, the severity of the issue is rooted in the loss of life. The problem size is just that. According to CNN, since the 1980s, there have been 1,000 executions in the United States. The problem is the finality of the sentence. Once a prisoner has been killed, the opportunity for correction and forgiveness has been nullified by the state. Why do we have the problem? The problem of capital punishment and the death penalty is as old as time. The problem we face today regarding the death penalty has come about because people are questioning the humanitarian aspect of the death penalty. The lines that are being drawn between political party affiliation and religious ideologies paint the death penalty as a moral and humanitarian issue rather than a criminal justice mechanism used to deter further crime. So what is the solution? The solution is to retain the death penalty. Retaining the death penalty is essential for a number of reasons. First, it allows the victims of the families that have suffered indescribable loss to have some sort of closure when it comes to moving on from the death of a loved one. According to the Fordham Urban Law Journal, victims of horrific crimes, or those who survive these victims, often describe themselves as seeking closure, a way to go on with their lives in the aftermath of unimaginable pain. Looking at the statements of the parents of murdered children, in two well-known cases, different victims seek closure in different ways. Both forgiveness and the desire for vengeance may play a role in the quest for closure. Secondly, it is a form of justice. Thirdly, it is cheaper on the taxpayer to have a convicted prisoner executed rather than living out the rest of his life on death row. Housing and feeding inmates in an already overcrowding prison system is a whole other issue that is plaguing the United States. According to an article on Forbes.com published in 2013, it costs an average $90,000 a year more to house an inmate on death row than a regular inmate. This includes the appeal process. It is costing the taxpayer more and more money to have inmates on death row for life rather than sentencing them to death. Overcrowding in prisons is a major issue facing the entire nation, including the state of California. The prison population is growing at a rapid rate, which increases the rate of recidivism, mental illness, and of course, the costs of housing inmates. All of these issues are then fiscally bestowed on the taxpayer to solve. According to a statement by the governor of California, due to the record number of inmates currently housed in prison in California, all prisons are now at or above maximum operational capacity, and 29 of the prisons are so overcrowded that they are required to house more than 15,000 inmates in conditions that pose substantial safety risks, namely the prison areas never designed or intended for inmate housing. So will the solution work? Let's look at each part of the solution and discuss why retaining the death penalty will work. First off, it will offer closure to the victims for the most hideous crimes known to man. The unimaginable pain that families have to suffer will be elevated knowing that there is justice. The best solution for punishment is having the criminal decide it themselves. Therefore, whatever crime they commit, the same will be bestowed upon them. This solution works and is the best solution. Taxpayers will not have to continue to pay on average $90,000 a year housing inmates that are on death row. The death penalty is a fiscally more responsible solution towards housing inmates on death row. The overcrowding of prisons is a significant problem in the United States, and here in California, the death penalty will help to elevate some of the overcrowding that is plaguing the prison system today. The current system of due process ensures that those that are sentenced to death row have every opportunity to defend themselves. With the advent of modern technology and extensive appeals process in place, the death penalty will be carried out with a very minimal chance of being incorrect. So what are the advantages of the proposal? The advantages of my proposal not only serve the tax-paying public, the state as a whole, but they also serve the victims of the families of capital crimes. The advantages of my proposal serve financial, societal, infrastructural, and personal benefits. From allowing grieving families some closure to helping the state reduce the burden on the taxpayer, my proposal is the solution. So, on balance, although the chance of sentencing someone to death by mistake is always there, the benefits of the death penalty greatly outweigh the chance. That chance is elevated as well by the processes in place in the criminal justice system today. I stand open for cross-examination.
5:58. Thank you.
Yep.
Stand close together so I can get you both on camera. Chair will now entertain a cross-examination not to exceed 3 minutes in length. Thank you for waiting respectfully at the door. Hey, and thank you for respectfully bringing a nice frappuccino. Thank you. Okay, sir, you're rolling.
Actually, I have two questions. So the first question is, since you did mention
To me, not to him.
Okay, since you did mention morality is insignificant for existence of death penalty. However, we are humans. We have emotions and moral values. So how can you explain the word I mentioned during my presentation is that we kill people because killing people is wrong. So how can you explain it?
Although we think that killing people is wrong, the criminal justice system can't function in the same manner. It can't use morality or emotions to determine what is right or what is wrong. It needs to find means of deterrence, of means of providing justice, so a particular society can function properly.
Okay. So my second question is the death penalty, compared to other punishments, will inevitably create judicial mistakes. However, the death penalty is non-reversible punishment. Like you executed a guy, but then realize it is a mistake. So how to deal with it?
So how to deal with a mistake that
yes, because that guy has already died.
So in regards to mistakes that can happen, that we have advancing technologies that will find better means of going about understanding whether a person should be sentenced to death or not. And as time progresses, technology progresses along with it, and the chances of being wrong in determining if a person should be sentenced to death is slowly being reduced.
So you mean it will decrease the misjudges?
I think it not only will be reduced, but I think it won't even exist.
Won't even exist?
Wow.
Okay. All right.
Okay, that was 2 minutes. Thank you. Thank you. So now it is time for refutation. 4 steps of refutation. First, we must have refutation from the affirmative, and then we will have refutation from the negative. So it's time for you to do your refutation, and you'll recall from the syllabus you engage in refutation by saying, Sam said what he said, I disagree because, and explain why, therefore we should keep the death penalty, right? Thank you. Okay, Johnny Knockstead with your refutation.
So, according to what Sam said, because Sam support the death penalty should exist. However, I strongly disagree with his opinion because, like I said, I have 3. Even though there are so many reasons, but I have already, illustrated 3 major reasons. That is inhumanity, and inhumanity, social inefficiency, and inequality. So let's say, for example, for social inequality, like Sam support death penalty. So how to deal with, because there are like 2 different groups. Rich people have more money to hire lawyer, the best lawyer, or pay all these fees. So maybe they're likely to escape from the death penalty. But compared to poor people, they don't have money. They don't even have money to buy food or maybe to rent an apartment to live. So how can they pay for this fee? So it's just like 100% they will be like sentenced to death. So therefore, I strongly disagree with Sam's opinion that death penalty should keep.
We think we should abolish.
Yeah, we should abolish in this country. So yeah.
Good. Thank you. That's it? You have 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
You can refute other things he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
So secondly, for Sam also say he actually emphasized morality. So we have to, judge someone based on, like we should be more. He said we should be more rational, even though death penalty is cruel and it's inhumane. But we need to keep this. However, I strongly agree with his opinion because...
Disagree.
I strongly disagree with his opinion because we all human, we are, emotional. We have emotional things when we facing some problems. So we cannot just, let everything say these people have already killed others, so he needs to be sentenced to death. However, there are a lot of other ways can reshape or to educate it that person. So we need to find the other way instead of just kill that person. So even though, like Sam said, this is very we should be more rational about. I strongly disagree with it. So therefore.
We should keep.
Yeah, we should
abolish.
To abolish death penalty instead of just.
Okay, you have 1 minute left if you want to do one more.
Instead of just keep it. So, in my opinion, I think because I have mentioned the last one, which was inhumanity for of death penalty. So because after we abolish death penalty, there are more and more states will like follow those states which have already abolished the death penalty, because it will like reduce like social like crime rate or.
That's half.
Okay.
So finish up now.
Yeah, because we can reduce social crime rate after we abolish the death penalty, because everyone will know this is inhumane, or just try to convince those people do not make crimes, or so. Therefore, I strongly disagree with Sam's opinion that the death penalty should be abolished.
And you want to abolish it, right?
Yeah, I disagree with Sam's opinion that death penalty should be abolished. So I agree.
We should abolish the death
Yeah,
penalty.
we should abolish. I disagree with.
Got a little
his
mixed up,
opinion.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, thank you, Johnny. Okay. The chair will now recognize Sam, the leader of the opposition, for a rebuttal to Johnny, hopefully done in 4 steps.
Sure.
He said, I disagree because, therefore. Tell us why we should not abolish the death penalty. Rock and roll, sir.
According to Johnny, we should abolish the death penalty. There are many reasons that he provided to assume that we should abolish the death penalty. One in particular is that killing individuals is merely wrong, and to use that as a social mechanism to deter crime or to seek justice is basically wrong on its own grounds. Now, the reason why that is wrong is because the death penalty is not a moral concern. It is a social structure for justice in regards to individuals that do wrong, and to have individuals understand that there's a form of justice that exists in the world. Another issue that he raised in regards to the death penalty is that there are times when the mentally ill get executed or are put on the death penalty, not because they were merely committing a crime or were doing something intentionally wrong, but were mentally impaired, and due to that a problem arose. Now,
I disagree.
I disagree with Johnny on this particular statement, because although the individual might be mentally impaired, the crime has been committed, and a form of punishment must be in place.
Therefore, we should.
Therefore, we should not abolish the death penalty, and
Thank
we
you.
should maintain its existence.
Good, thank you. Is that it?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay, that was 2 minutes out of 3. Okay, let's give them all a nice round of applause. You may cross the house and shake hands as a sign of civility. We've had a civil discussion of the death penalty. Now you may take your seats again. And it's now time to turn to the audience. So now you've filled out your ballots. You should have already had the top parts filled out. So now it's time to individually, don't look at other people, don't be influenced by other people. Just vote. You're going to put down in your section, you're going to award the decision for the proposition or opposition, or you can say government, or you can say opposition, or you can say affirmative, or you can say negative, or you can say Johnny, or you can say Sam, whatever you want to do. Sign your name, and then sketch a reason or two why you grant adherence to their argument. Yes, sir. Say your name and lose the hat. Thank you.
Jason.
Hi, Jason.
Are we supposed to write anything for like points rank and stuff?
Yeah, you can rank them comparatively. Who got the most points? That would be out of 100. The highest you'd want to give would be 80. That's a superior speaker.
Oh,
I have one of those sheets, please.
so points like.
Oh, you didn't get a ballot?
Yeah. But do we have to put points? Like,
Yeah, do we have to put points? We just put like 1 or 2 points.
yeah.
There you go. You need a ballot?
Well, I can put one on this side too.
This one's based on how well they spoke.
How well they spoke, how well they did their cross-acts, their refutation. Did they read or did they speak extemporary? Do you still need a ballot?
Yeah.
You said it's out of 80.
Yeah, in the tradition of British parliamentary debate, 80 is Jesus speaking. And 70 is the love. 80 is Jesus.
Oh.
70 would be Osama bin Laden.
Oh,
So,
70. It's still pretty.
Wait, what? I'm so confused by this.
It's a very.
So what is it?
Yes, very
Well, it's between 70 and 80, so you mark the points between that range.
So 1
So
to 10.
70 is
So
like.
1 through 10.
Yeah,
Don't,
can you
don't
one
put
to
80.
10?
It's not, none of these people are
I'm
Jesus.
so confused.
Wait,
So 70 to 80. Okay.
70 to 80 is your tradition, yeah.
And then the speaker 1, 2 is like the
That's
prelude
over.
to read.
I mean, 80 is like if they were under the basket.
Excuse me, Moa?
Is the 1 and 2.
Just one. Just rank them once. They only spoke once. Yeah.
Wait, 70 is bad also?
70 is Osama bin Laden. Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be their awful.
Like awful speaker or just like awful people?
Just like
Awful as a
70
speaker.
zero.
I mean, I don't know. I'm
No.
gonna say he could have been a convincing speaker.
Keep it simple, big guy. Jesus Christ.
Seventies and zeros, basically. We make up with the zeros.
Okay, did you get this? Yes. Merry Christmas. You get this? Everyone got a ballot packet, right? Of 8 ballots, so you have enough to do the whole. You bring it to class with you each time. Thank you. Okay, continue to individually fill out the ballot. Is Matthew Visk in the house?
I am right here.
Okay. Give me back the midterm.
Done.
Chloe.
Yes.
Merry Christmas. Angela Davis. Or Angela Davis. Jorge.
Right.
Hongji. Also known as Johnny. Akash. Whatever that is. Robin Wells. Seaback.
Here.
Okay. May I have your ballots, please? Okay, I'll start on the other side. We love Frappuccino.
Sorry, I'm done.
That's all you should be doing. Thank you. Rock and Robin. Never heard that before, have you?
My brother.
Oh, your brother. Your obnoxious brother. Michael Jackson song. Now, we had a girl on the debate team for 4 years named Robin Carrico. And the boys on the team used to spool Rockin' Robin by Michael Jackson on a what do you call it, iPod, and play it on long trips to Idaho or Utah or Wyoming.
She got the full.
Continuously. I know every word to that song.
I have a friend of mine who works for Capitol Records, or did, Capitol EMI, and he used to call me and play that song.
Play it, yeah. Okay, that's good, yeah. Well, it's a good song. Do I have all the ballots? No. One more? Okay. You're not supposed to consult with people.
No, I didn't know the low point win. That's what I meant.
Yeah, low point win means that you thought the guy was an atrocious speaker, but he had one argument that was decent enough to win the debate, but you gave him low points.
So do we not give any points to the person who we dealt things?
No, you give points, you rank them both.
Okay.
On a 6-6 decision, the debate is tied. Yeah, we flip a coin. Yeah, I'm the deciding vote. We'll start here. Stand up. Say your name. Say how you voted, and give a positive comment and a helpful suggestion for each person, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Diego.
Hi, Diego.
I personally sided with the government, because I believe that the right to human life is the most fundamental moral standard we have, and I don't think we can function as a society without one. And a few positive comments I would give Sam was that I think he brought up a really good historical background onto like why we have the death penalty. And the only thing I would have suggested that it maybe do was probably to kind of press a little bit more on the cross-examinations. Same thing with Johnny. Overall, I thought it was an interesting debate. So.
Let me highlight that and say that you'll get more points if you write out your cross-examination questions ahead of time, hand them to me, and also if you do follow-up cross-examination, you don't just ask a question and let the person ramble and run, but you ask a question, you stop, and you say, wait a minute, that's not what I asked, and you say, wait a minute. You say it's not moral. Well, wait a minute. Why isn't this a moral question? Because you said so? Who are you? Thomas Aquinas? Right? So, yeah. So we needed some follow-up stuff.
Heated debate would have been nice.
Okay. Thank you, Diego. Yes, sir.
Hi, my name is Jeffrey.
Hi, Jeffrey. Nice, loud speaking voice, Jeffrey.
The opposition.
Opposition? Great.
For the reason that Sam, was it Sam or Johnny stated that the cost was higher, the cost of the death penalty was higher.
Yeah.
And he counter-argued that by saying that it was not, because you just kill the criminal and you're done with the expenses of incarceration. So that convinced me to side with the opposition.
Okay, kill him and it's cheaper. You don't have the expense anymore.
Yeah.
Okay. That's a simple way to look at it. Thank you so much. Okay. Okay. Next, please. Stand up. Say your name.
Is this Sam?
Yeah, that's what it says on the board. Sam. See? And that's the resolution, and that's Johnny.
Okay. My name's Robin Wells, and
Hi, Robin.
I voted on behalf of Sam for the main reason is I believe because the law is there. It's a penal system. It's not emotional. And even though Johnny made a good moral argument, and from a religious standpoint, I completely agree with you. The law is not supposed to be based or rooted in religion. It's about a penal system that protects society, deters murders, and also does something about that to rectify it so that people don't just think it can be rampant and continue to go on. So I thought that was a really solid point. And then, of course, the economic aspect of it is good. And then from the moral perspective that Johnny presented, that would obviously be a bad way to look at killing someone. So anyway, I basically sided with Sam.
Okay, good. Thank you, Robin. One thing Robin reminded me to talk about that I didn't talk about ahead of, I wanted to let this just go fresh this first time, is we want to try to check our own personal, private opinion at the door, much the way if you were on a jury and you walked in here and said, look, ladies and gentlemen, I am in favor of the death penalty, and there's nothing you're going to do to say either one of you are going to change it, so screw you. I'm going to sit here and listen, but I don't care. Then you're not being a judge, right? You're not adjudicating and listening to the arguments and say who did a better job of debating and persuading and making effective arguments. So, not that you didn't do that, but you reminded me that I wanted to say something like that to everybody.
From a religious standpoint, I agree with him, but then from a government legal standpoint, I agree with him.
Okay.
And the law trumps, so.
Yes, please.
Hi, I'm Chloe.
Hi, Chloe.
Hi. I voted in favor of the government because although I thought Sam was very organized and I thought both did a really good job of being sort of diplomatic, it was very sort of calm and I thought that was a good, it was well delivered, I think, on both sides. Yeah. For me, the one argument that really stood out was that, human error, two arguments. Human error was one, and you can't, I don't think Sam really did, was able to rectify that. I don't know if it's rectifiable. And then the other was, that some people are able to sort of buy out of it, sort of like the social...
Rich people, yeah.
Yeah.
And
so,
get better attorneys, yeah.
So so that was sort of...
Okay. Those are fair reasons to grant adherence to his arguments. Thank you. Yeah, I thought that Sam lightly answered the question of error. It's almost zero, or we don't have to worry about that. I'm not so sure. We keep getting these wrongful. We keep getting these DNA tests that are coming that you hear about every week of people that are on death row that are taken off there, and you just wonder if we've always been in time so far.
Well, I think that substantiates his point.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Substantiates Sam's point, yeah.
Yeah, but human life can't put on the legs. It's too big of an error.
Yeah, but if we don't get to people...
It would vet more and more, and there would be less of those kind of errors because it would be
But we're not 100% accurate on stuff.
Yeah, but that was Johnny's point. We're not 100%, so he wants to err. He wants to err on the side of safety.
Yeah, I'd rather have to.
I agree with Robin.
Start with your name, New York.
My name is Dominic.
Hi, Dominic.
I agree with Robin in that coming into this debate, I didn't really have an opinion. I agreed with Johnny in that it creates inhumanity, but then also agreed with Sam in that if you're committing a crime that is worthy of capital punishment, then it should happen. My decision to vote for Johnny came down to their speaking styles in the debate. I thought that Johnny's was very easy to follow, considering he started off with, I'm going to list 3 main points, and did that. And I felt a little bit that Sam kind of just read his paper rather than addressing the judges in the audience. So that
Great point.
That's kind of what my decision came down to.
Let me. While you're standing up, Elizabeth, let me mention something about that. Yeah, we do want to try not to read as much as possible and look up as much as possible to make good eye contact with our audience. Another thing I'm sure some of you eagle-eyed noticed was that Johnny qualified all his sources with dates and where they came from and their sources and their qualifications, and we hardly heard any from Sam. And I think that was a really telling difference in terms of the credibility of the arguments presented. If you were just ranking them on credibility alone, Johnny had many more credibly qualified sources.
I'm Elizabeth. Sorry.
Hi, Elizabeth.
I do agree that Johnny did a really good job listing his sources. However, I did vote for the opposition, and the main point being was that in the rebuttal speech, I feel like Sam did a better job with refutation. He talked about how the death penalty is not a moral concern, but it is one of justice, which is the concept of giving each person his or her due. And I think he impacted this out with his victim solace argument and his constructive, which was that it is important for victims or the families of victims to achieve like some sort of closure, because if they don't have the death penalty, then they may seek out to get vengeance because it's a natural inclination to want to.
Lex talionis,
yes.
yeah.
So I think that was a really important point that kind of went unrefuted. And then, so I do believe that death penalty is a justice concern, which kind of knocks out Johnny's moral arguments. And then another point of clash was deterrence. And so Johnny did provide a very credible source as to why the death penalty doesn't deter crime, but I think that Sam gave a more logical explanation for why it doesn't work, and that's, again, it goes against the natural inclination to want to survive, and so I think that the death penalty does deter people from wanting to commit crime because they don't want to die. And then another point, I think that Johnny, rather than really attacking certain points in Sam's case, like overcrowding, fiscal cost, etc., he kind of just repeated the points that he made in his constructive, which is fine, but I think it's more important to address the points that your opponent makes to really show why you specifically win the debate. And then advice, press more during cross-examination, and then I think that Sam should not have mentioned the chance of a false negative in his constructive. I think that weakened your own point. Johnny probably may or may not have even thought of that point if you didn't say it. So be careful not to weaken your own constructive.
Elizabeth made three good points. I want to highlight a couple of aspects of them for all of you to notice. Johnny's evidence, while fully dated and very recent, wasn't that impressive to me on deterrence because it was a opinion survey which said, in your opinion, is there a deterrence? Well, as Donald Trump said last night after he got the vote in Nevada, God damn, do I love, what did he say, poor?
Yeah, he said the poorly educated.
I love you poorly educated idiots or something, and he gets away with it. I love the poorly educated. Ha! The masses are asses. Yes, they are. Okay. Well, maybe they are. Maybe they aren't. But Johnny, you could have had a stronger studies that actually show deterrence, not just public opinion. Yeah. What Elizabeth was getting at, Johnny, was you want to have and you saw this from when you were judging, and you want to have a mixture of refutation and presenting your own case in your speech. And you still want to do, he said, I disagree because, therefore, and shut his arguments down and then go back to your case and present your positions. And the false positive was obvious. Yes, please.
Hi, my name's Raymond.
Hi, Raymond.
I gave the debate to the government side. My main reason was that a few of the arguments that that Sam presented were against his own case. A few of them about deterrence was that people sometimes commit crime because they know the death penalty exists and they want to commit suicide, or that that people who have committed capital crimes will commit again because they know so it's not a deterrence, and that hurt his own case. On top of that, in the unequal point that Johnny brought up, that people who have money can get away with death penalty, was not really addressed. And the final point is the cost of death penalty. Sam brought up really good evidence, but his evidence supported that the cost of people on death row was higher than regular incarceration. But if we abolish the death penalty, then death row wouldn't exist.
Right, and that's all of 20 people.
Yeah.
Right? You know, we're talking about a couple $1 million, you know. We're not talking about massive sums of people on death row that are eating up the prison budget. Yeah, good. Thank you, Raymond. By the way, Raymond, you reminded me of something, an announcement I wanted to make. If any of you are interested in judging at SLO, if you could drop me an email or see me after class, that would be good.
When?
San Luis Obispo, that's next weekend.
Not this weekend, but the
Not this weekend, but next weekend. Yes, please.
My name is Matt.
Hi, Matt.
I gave the debate to the opposition, Sam.
Opposition, great.
I did it based solely on the refutation. I thought that Sam's refutation to Johnny's argument was a little bit more cohesive and a little bit more rounded. When Johnny presented his refutation, he presented a lot on an emotional appeal, and he spoke to the kind of what he was saying to those who are poor versus those who are rich, and how that affects. But I think the idea that Sam at least argued was that, well, why were they there in the first place? It shouldn't matter if they're rich or they're poor. They're still there for a reason. And so that was a stronger argument to me than a moral appeal, because it went back to the legal system, which trumps moral.
Okay, good. Thank you. Okay, next to the blinds.
My name's Jorge.
Hi, Jorge.
So I gave the win to government, Johnny, because first of all, Sam mentioned the money thing, just like he did, that it's more expensive to have someone on death row than it is to have someone incarcerated normally. And it's actually, I've done my own research for a previous project, and it's more expensive to have someone on death row than to have them in prison for life, because of all the fees, all the appeals, everything. They have a lot of different levels of, kind of safeties where people can appeal. So it's way more expensive. Also, Johnny provided sources and dates, just as you said, so that definitely gives them more credibility. Also, his socioeconomical argument of the poor versus the rich, it's definitely valid in my opinion, the way he presented it, because he was able to present it and frame it in a way that everyone was able to actually believe it.
Okay, thank you. Next. Thank you for losing the hat. Okay.
Hi, I'm Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hi, I gave the win to the opposition, Sam. Although Johnny had really great structure, you had the inhumanity, inefficiency, and inequality. I thought Sam just set the tone throughout the whole debate that, hey, this is not based on moral grounds, but it is what it's supposed to be, which is a justice mechanism. I just thought that set the tone throughout the whole debate, the refutation.
Okay. Yeah.
Hi, I'm Josh.
Hi, Josh.
I gave the win to the opposition. I thought that, again, Johnny had really good sources, really up-to-date stuff, but coming from a standpoint where it's kind of, my stance is almost similar in the sense that it's a little bit harder to find those types of links and sources. It was pretty wise of you to choose our morality and sense of justice. So I thought that was really good.
Okay, thank you. One last comment to Sam. Sam, I agreed that I didn't make much of a comment of this. I'll make more comment when I talk about your brief, but a lot of the top part of your brief wasn't really compelling evidence that we should keep the death penalty. And we needed, some of it was ambiguous, almost in the realm of abolishment. And be careful about that, because when you're engaged in persuasion and oral advocacy, you want to, present the best evidence that's saying we should keep, this death penalty, we need it, and that sort of thing. Otherwise, good job. Let's see the next debate.
There's one more.
Oh, there's one more? Oh, we skipped somebody? Oh, I'm sorry. It's all good. Yeah, lose the hat.
I'm Jason.
Hi, Jason.
So I was actually on the fence at first between both of the arguments. I thought they both made really strong points, but ultimately I gave it to the government because I liked how your sources, even though you appealed emotionally, you had more statistics and cited your sources compared to the opposition. So let me say what I like about both of yours and what I think you could have worked on. So since you appeal to emotion, I feel like maybe more since you wanted to abolish the death penalty, maybe you could have given some anecdotes, actual people who have been mistakenly executed, because I know for a fact there's tons of stories about that. So since you appealed emotionally, if you brought up some stories like that, that would kind of convince more people to side with you. In terms of which one of you did the 8th Amendment, or you brought up the 8th Amendment? You brought up the 8th Amendment. So I feel like maybe you could have. I feel like that kind of it was good that you brought that up, but I feel like Sam could have attacked you more on that. He could have brought up okay, cruel and unusual punishment. What exactly do you define as cruel and unusual punishment? Because you were saying okay, so if you kill someone, you deserve death. I don't know if I said that, but anyway. So then the other thing that someone brought up earlier, so the advancing technology to find out if a person's guilty or not. So you brought that up. I feel like you could have attacked him more on that. Heavily pressed, but where's the proof? Are you ever going to be 100% right to find out whether a person's guilty or not? So you could have done more on that. That kind of helped his case more by bringing that up, and you didn't attack it. So, and then another thing, one more. What is it? Yeah. Also, the death penalty is expensive, and then abolishing the death penalty is also expensive. That was kind of okay, so who's right? That's what I was kind of confused on. Maybe you could have attacked each other more on that, so that we could have gotten a better sense of should we actually keep the death penalty or should it be abolished. And also, I think both of you also said that the crime rate would decrease if you have the death penalty and if you don't have the death penalty. So I don't know. I think that's what I got from it. But also, that's similar to what I said about the about being expensive. So yeah, that kind of confused me. Maybe you could have attacked more.
Yeah, that was a wash. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, let's give them another round of applause. Okay, the next two debaters quickly set up. We've got another debate to hear. Fill out your ballots for the next round, please. Debaters, erase your names, put up your new names. Here's some, here's your, yeah, I guess I have a blue one. I don't know what happened to the red one. You have the red one?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If an argument is brought up